stir it up and do things our way. So if you wanna move, get out of our way.
Greetings, darlings.
7 episodes in, and I'm still not used to this.
It's getting worse each time.
You know what? Luann was on Sheena Shea's podcast the other week, and she was talking about being in London and talking with Tilda Swinton. And she was doing a voice, and it was exactly that voice you just did. So it was like, yeah, you can't do LVP, but you basically can do Luann doing Tilda Swinton.
Luann and I pretty much have the same vocal register.
You do.
Same lungs, same delusions of grandeur, same. So yeah, this is my favorite.
When's your cabaret show gonna start?
I know. I was just looking actually. She announced new shows. None in LA yet, but I do want to go.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go. Yeah, when she comes to LA, we need to go.
Yeah. I have to know. Won't give anything away. But anyways, we are here for Beverly Hills.
Episode 7.
That's right. It's the morally corrupt rewatch of season 1, Beverly Hills. And here we are on episode 7.
And you know what it was? It was a Camille-free episode.
True.
Yep.
True. And it seemed a little lighter. It seemed a little lighter. The women were supportive of each other throughout the episode.
There was no pettiness.
They wanted to
jealousy.
see each other. They wanted to see each other happy and loving relationships.
Right? Oh my gosh. So what was so different? What was so different about this?
What was the one thing missing?
Something there was this like pernicious attitude that was missing.
Oh God.
Actually, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. She was in there. She was in there briefly because she was in New York trying on dresses for the Tonys. So we're wrong about that. But she didn't interact with any of the women, basically.
No. She was just dress shopping for what will come up soon, which will be the dress she will wear to the funeral of her wedding. She's doing it for the Tonys. And that is when we are like, beyond a doubt, you are no longer Mrs. Grammer.
Yeah, exactly. I will say though, that dress that she wore is amazing. That dress was just gorgeous. It was a showstopper. Like I remember, I was like, oh, "Damn, that woman looks amazing."
I have to say, her style choices. I was watching last night. Her style choices still hold up today.
Yeah, yeah. She's a very stylish woman. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Kyle, she dresses like a time capsule. She is the trendiest thing in the moment. And then you look back and you're like, oh my God, that was so 2010. But Camille's, I have to give her credit. She could have worn those dresses today in her confessional or reunion, still look good.
She and Heather Dubrow have similar styles, I would say, like very, very classic, very high end classic, quiet luxury chic. Yeah, that's what they have for sure. But anyway, but we start off with matchmaker, make me a match, find me a find, catch me a catch.
They are looking to find. Everyone wants Kim to find love this episode, which is sweet. I mean, it opens with Kyle and Kim go to the facial. I remember this facial scene because it is so bizarre. Remember, it's like
the Hannibal Lecter facial.
That's what I had in my notes. I literally put, you can't see it on here, Kyle's weird Hannibal Lecter facial.
Yep. That's what I have written. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fun seeing too. Another time capsule moment here when Kim's having it done. Kyle takes out her BlackBerry to take a photo of it, and then it was probably being saved for Facebook, maybe Twitter around that period. Maybe. We're still talking about an early Housewives game.
I wonder what kind of facial exactly it is it is there because like I have a device that I use at home. Well, and now they're more popular. There's a few that do. I have one. It's called a myolift, and it basically helps to tighten the muscles in your face. And it's very popular now, but now they're like smaller and everything. But I could see back in like 2011, 2012, like them being these big things that you have to go. Like they're not as
Yeah.
they've only recently become more of a personal item that you can have. So I was like, is that what I basically have at home now? Because there also are a couple of mask ones that I can use and like put them on and put these electrodes into them, and it'll help like do that type of stuff. Like, so if you want to know how I stay looking young, that's one thing. A myolift mini myolift. Yep. But so yeah, but I was just like, oh my gosh. But it was like, yeah, that's also a nice kind of like sister bonding thing to go get facials together and do stuff like that. That's a nice like girly thing to do that like girls like to do, whether it's getting facials or getting your nails done, or like just something like, treat yourself. Let's do that. I like the idea of, setting Kim up and like helping her like that. But I also thought it was like the way Kyle was selling it of like wanting her to find a soulmate. I was like, you want her to find somebody so you don't have to support her anymore.
It is, like you said, it's a very complicated sisterhood. And this episode's really good because we always talk about the bad, but you see both here.
Yeah.
And part of it, like Kim says, growing up, I was the big sister, and now Kyle's like the one who watches after me. But it is emotionally, but at this point, they were helping her. I mean, for Kim's, for that family's sake, find her a rich man. That's find an ambitious man, something like that. Because they're talking a lot about partnership. They also need, it's not cheap to be married to a Richard's sister, Richard's Hilton. Like, so, I mean, yeah, I like how Kim's putting it in terms of emotional support, but she's like, get her off my payroll, please, anyone.
Yep, exactly. No, well, I thought that when I love the whole setup of Lisa having Martin over for tea to like set him up. But the first thing was like, have you been smoking? Oh, you need to stop that. And I was like, no, he doesn't. Absolutely no, he doesn't. Him and Kim are going to go off and have cigarettes together. Come on, let's be real about this.
And it's not like LVP and Ken haven't been caught on camera,
right?
Dipping into the nicotine before. I wonder where Martin is now. But
that's what I was wondering too. I want to know where Martin is. Maybe we can find him.
He pops up throughout the early years.
Yeah.
But I caught something where, because obviously LVP comes through. She wants to set up Martin with Kim. And the way she's explaining her to him, he's like, it's Kyle's sister. You've met Kyle. And he's like, oh yeah, Kyle is lovely. And LVP goes, well, she's not Kyle. She's a little different.
Don't get your hopes up, buddy.
Brace yourself.
I mean, at least she's not lying to him.
Yeah.
I've had friends straight up lie to me about the men that they're setting me up with. I was like, you hate me, don't you? Or else you would have told me the truth about this guy.
Yeah.
I still probably would have gone out with him, but I would have just been prepared.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh,
but it does, what this episode does do is introduce us to Mohamed Hadid. The whole point of this episode is it's going to be a setup for Kim and Martin at a party thrown in Lisa Vanderpump's honor at Mohamed Hadid's newest mansion.
The rich, broke mogul.
Yeah. I mean, this is the man who, in seasons to come, will be Yolanda's ex-husband. And also this show will become a launching pad for two of the biggest supermodels in the world, his daughters, Gigi and Bella.
Yep. Wow. And, I mean, they eclipsed his 25-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah. LVP is a master of self-deprecation, because when he introduced the way she looked stunning, gorgeous, and the way but she doesn't say that. She says like, Oh my God. How did she put it? It was so funny. She was like, being greeted by his stunning 6 foot tall girlfriend as I waddle down the hall behind her.
It's how LVP got away with so much for so and still gets away with so much for so long because
Mhm.
she is self-deprecating. It is. It's
Yeah.
it's part of her charm. I will say it is charming. She is charming in that sense. Like, and it allows her to get away with a lot. So
Mhm.
yeah. Well, we should go back a little bit because we went ahead.
You got a little excited. Big mansion. You know, my mind races.
You did. Real estate. Oh my gosh. It's your porn. It's okay. We
It's like
understand.
my mind zoomed right past the whole episode. But
You're
rolling
so
back.
red right now. I said porn and you turned so red. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this.
I'm demure and mindful.
And I'm cutesy.
But I mean, so we also get to go and see once again a Paul and Adrienne segment. This was their
Mhm.
anniversary, their 8th anniversary, which I have to say in my notes again, I put, well, it feels like they've been married 38 years the way they bicker. And then I think Paul and Adrienne say feels like 75.
Well, I think Adrienne said that. Like she
Mhm.
was like, and I was like, oh, hi, Kelsey Grammer there. Also, like she was calling out that like Paul doesn't really plan anything for their anniversaries, but this is one that he planned. I was like, well, 8 is a weird one to be planning for then. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, except for the fact that you're on television now. So of course he's gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, look what I planned. I
I did. Oh, I was laughing when she was like, I guess he did really well. He got her a
Mhm.
dog. She loves dogs. She was truly impressed and
Yeah.
grateful. But the funny part is when she's like, if I could, I'd have a house full of dogs running around. You live in a 15,000 square foot mansion on acres of land with a staff. It makes it sound like she lives in an apartment and her dream is to have a puppy. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, yeah.
You could have a dog.
You
You
could
could
have all the
totally have a
dogs
dog.
you want.
Well, and speaking of dogs, we also had the whole Kennedy snowball allergy debacle,
Mhm,
and Taylor having to take her to the doctor to find out that she is allergic, which we already knew, and then having her have to talk to Russell and Russell being like, "Oh, she'll just have her take a pill and have her like get
mhm,
over it," and all this stuff. And I just was like, can't we have more cats on Bravo? There's so many dogs. There's so many dogs. Like we've got,
mhm.
Vanderpump dogs. Everybody's got a dog. I was like, finally, I do think like 2024 is the year of the cat. And I mean, not in Chinese, astrology or anything like that, but it is the year of the cat. Cats are finally having their comeuppance. So this is my challenge to Bravo is to show more cats. I will give Sheena Shea this. She has 2 cats. She shows her cats as much as she can when
Mhm.
she's on the show. There's some other we've seen Ariana's cat. She has a cat and a dog. We see those animals. I
Carol
love a cat.
Radswell had a
Mhm.
a cat named Baby.
Yep, exactly. Let's show more of the cats. And I love a cat dog combo too. That's what I grew
Mhm,
up with. I grew up with both. So I love a combo. I love a cat dog
mhm.
combo. Let's get more cat and dog combos out there. That's my challenge to Bravo. More cats. More cats.
Cats really are more similar to a housewife's personality anyways.
I mean, look, and you and I are 2 cat people too. So
Mhm. I mean, look, the term catty.
right? It's like you leave them alone when you have to, but then they come to you when you don't really want them to. That's exactly what a housewife does.
Yeah.
Housewife gives you shit when you don't want her to. Like, hi, I've been trying to get you all this time. Now all of a sudden you want attention?
Yeah.
Fine. Oh, okay. Whatever.
One
Mm,
thing, though, that I saw with, Taylor and Russell with the dog is it seems like because obviously we know their marriage was not good,
mhm.
and the way she talks about it, she's always, brushing it off, like, "I don't wanna bother him, this is just we're good business partners," but it seems, uh, this episode, we're starting to see that their marriage is in a crisis, like, she's kinda starting to fall apart a bit, and I notice it finally, she's not speaking for herself because I don't think but when it affects Kennedy, her daughter, that's when she starts speaking up, and then you start seeing the real crisis emerge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He wanted the thrill of the puppy for her, but he doesn't.
Well, because he liked the way it made him feel, and Kennedy's reaction to the puppy of like, I got you the thing I wanted. And it was supply for him is what it was. It was narcissistic supply. It made him feel good in the moment. But the reality of having a dog, I mean, she knew the reality of having a dog. And I think also it was a little bit of probably a dig at Taylor of like, well, I got her the thing that you didn't want me to get her. And look, I'm the better parent because I got her the thing that she really loves, even though it's bad for her because she's allergic to it. So like, I didn't even get her a hypoallergenic dog. Like because he doesn't even think about that because he's not thinking about his child or like what, because there wasn't even a discussion of like, okay, well, we could get a dog, but what if she's allergic to it? Let's get a hypoallergenic dog. Something like that. I mean, we could say so many things about that man, but he's where he's supposed to be right now. So, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I guess on a lighter note, then we should flash forward back to that party, which, by the way, Kyle's getting ready for it. And it's our first glimpse at Pamela, our friend.
Glam by Pam. First, I mean, I think that's the first time we've seen her ever on Housewives, period, right? That scene. Yep.
I mean, now she's had her own career glow up on the show because normally they don't name, let alone really show how glam. Now we have more, but she went from a glimpse of zhuzhing up Kyle's hair and in the season 1 to now in Orange County. She is sitting right next to Shannon in a featured Heather Dubrow party luncheon. So I mean, like that it takes a lot of clout to do that because they don't frequently show support teams like that, and she's like her own name in Bravo now because of it.
I mean, where are Joe and Dee Dee now? Camille didn't do that for them. This is what Kyle and Shannon, do for Pam, There you go. There you go. There you go. Also, Pam is like really good at what she does too. I'm not saying that Joe wasn't good at what he did, but just saying. I did notice at that party that there were servers there. In fact, Diana, we see later, Diana is a manager at SUR. I don't know if at that moment she was a manager at SUR because she's wearing the dress, but she's the manager who Kristen Doty told to suck a dick. She was there serving champagne. And then we saw some other, I mean, they didn't show too many of their faces, but Diana was one I saw. I was like,
I didn't even catch that.
Oh, I see everything. That's why when you guys were like, oh my God, Tom is on the, I said, I clocked that from the first bit. There was actually more, there was 2 times that you could see Tom's face in Villa Blanca. I was like, I saw them both because I was like, hello.
I'm too busy.
I was like, that's not Ariana.
I'm scanning the house. I'm scanning the door.
I'm always scanning the people. I've always been that person though too, of like, I know supporting actors' names. I can tell you what they've been in, those type of things. So so you're scanning the scenery and I'm scanning the people. Like the scenery, those places. I know the people. Because I'll be honest with you, I can't tell houses from each other. My friends and I have a joke that I'm English house racist because I can't tell castles apart. Like I can't tell like grand English manor homes apart. Like I don't know the difference between Chatsworth and Blenheim, and like I do know what Buckingham Palace looks like, but I could not tell any of those houses apart. It's embarrassing how I cannot do that. Like I'm just house blind.
I won't always remember. Like they'll be like, "Oh, did you meet what's her name?" And I'll be like, I don't know. And then they'll be like, she was what's her name's best friend? Describe her slightly. And I'll be like, the one who was wearing that limited edition Bulgari watch. That was us. Like I go into, was it the one with the emerald cut? That was like how many like
Whereas like I could tell you like Garcelle Beauvais like half of her IMDb page just from the top of my head. Like before
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she was on this, and this. And that's just the 90s right there.
Yeah.
Like we're not even in the aughts. Okay. Like
But
yeah.
I guess speaking of house porn, oh my God,
Mhm.
that house at Mohammed, where they held it. So it is a pretty spectacular home, just so you guys know. It's directly across the street from the Beverly Hills Hotel. So in case you guys want to know where it is, it's on the corner of Sunset and can't think of the street you turn into. It's basically when you pull up to the Beverly Hills Hotel on the side street, that you turn left up at an angle to go up the driveway.
Mhm.
It's direct. Okay, this house is the gate you see to your right when you're turning left into the Beverly Hills Hotel. It is directly facing it. So
Okay.
it really is. Like, yeah, I can't think of the street name. Is it Crescent?
I was like, it's either Crescent or Cannon, but no, it's not Cannon.
No.
No, it's not
Well,
Cannon.
you guys get it. It is
I think it's
literally
Crescent.
facing, it's literally facing the entrance of the Beverly Hills Hotel. And
Mhm.
it is 48,000 square feet plus guest house. You saw
Just
the
the home,
house.
just the house.
The home.
Like, okay.
The main house is 48,000 square feet.
Mm.
So approaching spelling size there. But what he did was buy these. He had backers, just so you guys know, because early on I was naive too watching this first season. I thought this guy must be a billionaire. He was
Mm-mm.
taking in foreign investors' money, developing these homes as flip investments to then sell to other foreign buyers,
Mhm.
because that's where I was going to get into this house. It didn't
Mhm.
sell for what you think it would. It was 48,000 on an acre of land.
That's a lot. And
That's like more than twice the size a house. An acre sounds like a lot, but a 48,000 square foot house
mhm.
it should be on 4 acres. I mean, there's
Mhm.
no yard, basically. There's a little area for a pool and a patio. He basically built this huge house filling out the property. So
Mhm.
even though he originally listed it for 85 million, it sold for like 32. And this year,
Mhm.
after 10, 12 years, it resold finally for 36 mil. It's
Yeah.
not, I mean, it sounds like I'm laughing at 36 mil, but you get it. It would normally be like an 80 to $100 million house. But
Mhm.
what he does is they sell them to foreign buyers. The buyer was like the daughter of a Eastern European oligarch, something like
Mhm.
that.
And I mean, and he designs them for a certain type of foreign buyer too. Like you can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
tell like the architecture and the design of it. Like, well, and right now it's still going on. He owes $55 million to creditors on a lot in Beverly
Mm,
Hills, just a lot. And this has been going on for almost 12 years, actually. It's been going on for a
jeez.
very long time. And apparently the land is really only worth $35 million. And they started to do some construction, like some leveling and everything like that. But like he's so underwater on it, and there's so many creditors going after him. It's so bad. He has a history. There's a big, I think it was in Vulture or like The Cut. There was a big article about him and basically kind of like his house of cards when it comes to his real estate.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not going to empire. It's like real estate enterprises, like and how he's done it. Like you're saying, like taking other people's money and taking out loans and everything like that to build these
Yeah.
enormous properties. I mean, he had one that was $100 million that he defaulted on, that he was
Yeah.
building, and that was insane. So he's a lot of smoke and mirrors,
Yes,
and yeah,
definitely. I
yeah,
mean, really, in the end, although they were raised very well, Gigi and Bella needed to get out and make their own money because
yeah,
Mohammed is not to be counted on at this point. He's had to let a lot go, a lot of downsizing.
Mhm.
They seized that huge house in Bel Air he was buying on
Mhm.
building on the hillside and tore it down. I mean,
Mhm.
he builds way beyond the size that should be. And the thing is, just because it's a lot of square footage doesn't mean it's going to sell for that. So
No. He doesn't really build for what the market is asking for or
mhm,
where the market is going. He builds for himself and then what
mhm.
he thinks it should be or should go
Yeah.
for.
It
So,
would do the kind of Umzi build would do really well in Dubai.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that kind of
Mhm.
um,
Well, he's
but
Palestinian and he has that aesthetic, you know what I mean? He
yeah,
definitely but I think but he loves I think the grandeur and the name of Beverly Hills, you know?
yeah.
So, yeah. But we got to see Sexy Kim at the
That's
party.
right. Kim looked fantastic.
She did. She
She
looked
did.
great. She looked
She was
really,
really
really good.
feeling herself there.
In her,
The
like, Dolce& and Gabbana dress, like, her bra popping out, a little, like, boobies and her, like, rare leopard print. Let's go, Sexy Kim. I I felt bad for her, though. It's so tough to be on such a public date. Not only is it on camera, but it's a blind date at a party with a whole bunch of your friends, including, like, your sister and brother-in-law. Like,
Mhm.
I I think that's actually the worst idea for a closeted alcoholic to go on a date like that. Like, not being an alcoholic, I would be crawling out of my skin. Like, I just would be like, "This is so fucking uncomfortable." Like,
And the pressure they put on her, I mean, it was sweet.
yeah.
Everyone in that party seemed to really genuinely want them to find each other. Like,
Yeah.
Paul pulled him aside. It was really nice. He's like, "You guys seem so great." He was like, everyone was like a yenta there, invested in this matchmaking between
Mhm.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sweet. It was sweet for sure. It definitely I think it just took a lot of pressure on her put a lot of pressure on her, which no wonder she kept disappearing.
Can I tell you about the disappearing? I mean,
I mean, let's talk about
I don't think it needs I don't think it take going to take you guys a lot of guessing of what she was disappearing for. There are a lot of bathrooms in that house. She was under a lot of pressure. And if you wondered why she drove herself there, but Martin, the gentleman he was, had to drive her home, she was slipping out to drink. Like she was nervous out of her mind,
Mhm.
understandably. I mean, she held it together. I will say
Mhm.
she didn't
Yeah.
stumble out of the party, but that is what she had some minis stashed around the house to escape
Mhm.
the pressure.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And I mean, and she got more kind of affectionate towards him and loosened up for sure, like
Mhm.
towards the end, which, that lubricating alcohol will do to you too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's like,
She
yeah.
was I mean, it was cute. I don't think she ever talks to him again because I think a
No,
fight
she does. She does. I mean, well, at the finale party, he was there kind of as her date. He
Oh,
was in the limo when he's in the limo fight. He's in the middle of the limo fight.
because I was trying to think. I'm watching them 1 week at a time with you guys, and,
Yeah, me too, but I remember
there's a part where LVP gets mad at her, and it's like, "You never called Martin, and he was nice enough to drive you all the way out home." 'Cause
Mhm.
she lived
Yeah.
in, like, Sherwood, about an hour away from Beverly Hills at this point, so
Mhm. No, she definitely, like, went out yeah, she didn't talk to him, and then after LVP scolds her, I think she does go out with him again, and then they go to the finale party, and then he is
Mhm.
in the limo. He
That's
is
right.
in between. He is with her, he is with Kyle, he is with Adrienne. Yeah, he is in
Mhm.
the middle of that fight. He was in the middle, and I think that's when he was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm out of it." Like, he was like, he's like, "I'll go back to my tall brunettes."
Yeah, yeah, I was like, "I don't know what I signed up for."
Yeah, yeah.
But this
Oh,
was not it.
mhm. Going back real quick to the Taylor and Russell of it all, it was interesting because I think it was Russell had a conversation with, Mauricio and Kyle about marriage and was, like, asking them about how it was, like, it being tough
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and they had a, like, you know, because I really liked Kyle and Mauricio together. I don't want anybody to, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just blabbing my opinions here. But I mean, I really liked them for a very long time. And I thought that they were like a relatively healthy couple for a long time. And I think that they were, but people grow apart. You're married for so long. Shit happens. But they had a very honest conversation with Russell, at least like the questions that he was asking about, like, hey, yeah, it is hard in the early days and like having kids and stuff like that and everything. And I thought that they were being very real with Russell, but Russell was not being very real with them about like why he's asking these questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like for the cameras to like whatever. I don't, it was an awkward moment. It was Russell being awkward. And
it was him trying to be a human. He was very robotic.
Yeah.
And he would try to, but no.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when Kyle and so after the party, the meetup is like the next day or two, where Taylor and Kyle meet at a restaurant to talk about the marriage. You remember that was fun fact about that restaurant. I noticed they were meeting at Via Alloro, which is on Beverly Hills, and I had a flashback because I used to go and watch this and be like, "Oh, I'm going to check out that restaurant. I'm going to do that." It was like my little tour, even though And so I went to I was walking by and I saw Via Alloro. Shortly after that, I was like, "Oh my God, I should stop in there." And I'm looking, and on the patio was Rick Hilton.
No way.
and so I went in. It was like an afternoon. I think he was having a meeting. His office was down the street. And I wonder how creeped out the hostess was. It's like, yeah, I just like to like grab a drink, like a glass of champagne, whatever. Can I sit on the patio over there?
You weirdo.
I'm pretty sure it was fairly empty. It was like at 2 p.m. He was probably having a business lunch. Can you seat me next to the only people?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But she did it, right? That's what we do in Beverly Hills. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. But I mean, the conversation though is about, this is where you really see the marriage is. There's a lot. Taylor has a lot of pain about her marriage here. She's no longer being like, I want Beverly Park. I want a Bentley. She's like, I can't make it. She's like on the verge of tears.
Yeah. Yeah. It's painful to watch, especially in retrospect.
Yeah.
It's very painful to watch.
This is where the facade is crumbling.
And I think I think it's kind of like where the Kennedy snowball of it all is. It's like a proxy for a lot of the rest of their marriage and their marriage issues and the feeling and the almost like, wow, they really did do a very good job of hiding the abuse this season that was going on. And I mean they as in Taylor and Russell, but also production, depending on how much they knew. They had to have known something was going on no matter what. And also they as in other cast members, depending on how much they knew as well, which apparently they did know something. But that was the way everything is just so coded and you're trying. I mean, I think even now, like, I feel like I'm trying, sometimes I'm like, am I reading into this or is this something that was there? But it definitely, to me, the dog is almost like a turning point for me of like, this is public disrespect and this is a showing of it. And it's starting for me to like you said, she's starting to break down and it's starting to be like, I can't hide this stuff. Like now it's going to be shown that this gift is making my daughter sick and he doesn't care. So now when it affects my daughter and affects her publicly, because it's one thing, because I think a lot of times when there's DV going on, it's like, well, I will take it so that my kids are safe. Or I will do these things for my children's sake. And now it's like, well, you know, he's willing to let my daughter be hurt, even though it's just by an allergy, but that's still it. Like, where does that maybe is the beginning of something, you know, where does it stop? And that's probably maybe either consciously or subconsciously going on in her brain right there.
Because like she's having a heart-to-heart with Kyle, and Kyle must have known something. I mean, because she was very, like it said, this episode without Camille. I mean, and I'm not slamming it. Normally, I'm like, I don't want Housewives to be nice to me.
You're right. You don't. You never say
like,
that.
No, it's really nice.
You don't want them to be relatable or nice.
There was almost a shred of genuine care and emotion, and it was nice. And the way she's talking to her, and she's like, Kyle's trying to feel her out. Like, don't you feel that way? And she's like, and Taylor's like, I feel like Russell and I are really good business partners, which is.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I do think that there are people's marriages, because marriage is a business and it is a contractual business. Like marriage has always been that way. It's only been about love, honestly, in the last like 150 years, like since the romantic era. But I think like this good marriages, there can be very good marriages that are business contracts, but they just don't talk about it. The gears move smoothly. They're well-oiled machines, but she's talking about it as a business because it is not a well-oiled machine, because it doesn't work anymore, because it is broken. So that's the only reason she keeps saying that over and over again, is because she is unhappy and she's trying to make that very clear.
Yeah. And she was always pushing, like kind of brushing aside their personal lives and looking at, you know, she talks about wanting to move to Beverly Park or more, you know, the zip code more is more, all that kind of stuff. So she focused on the business, and completely their personal life was like, they had no connection. And now what I'm saying is, now with this Kennedy thing, the emotional side is setting in for her, and she's losing it. Because I think she had been brushing it off for so long, avoiding that conversation with herself.
Yeah, I agree.
But one last thing though, in this conversation, which is something that really applies to Beverly Hills today, is when Kyle's explaining to her what a great relationship she has with Mauricio, and how their dynamic is, and he's so supportive, and she feels like he's her number one fan. And it reminded me of where, with like him being on TV now and their marriage falling apart, is she was always she was meant to be the star, he was meant to be the businessman. It was supposed to be more like, and that's what she liked. And that's how they started out. She, you know, she was the entertainer, he was the businessman. She was LVP, he was Ken. He was Rick, she was Kathy. And now he's pursuing fame in his own way, and I think the fame has gone to his head, and the balance is off. And I think that's really more for today. But when she said that, I was like, you can see how the dynamic has changed since, and now they're not the it couple. So
agreed. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head right there.
Well,
you hit the nail on the head a lot, especially on Twitter, especially when we break news. Speaking of Mauricio, when we break news that Buying Beverly Hills is canceled by Netflix. I'm just going to say this. Look, we don't break news every day, not even every week. But when we do break news, we always come correct. Yeah. Always come correct. So if you're not following us, you need to be following us.
That's right. Yeah, we beat total. We beat Deadline, Page 6, The Hollywood Reporter, and we may have forced Netflix. Our announcement may have forced Netflix to confirm in the press. So
Yep. Yeah.
Who's gonna check us, boo? Timelines, receipts. But On that note, you know where you could get more breaking news from us? By rating, reviewing, subscribing, and following. That's right. Pretty Corrupt Podcast. That's on Instagram and TikTok. On Twitter, we're Pretty Corrupt One. And we are also on YouTube.
Mhm. And we are trying to reach 200 subscribers on YouTube by Labor Day. We are very close. We are only about 30 something, maybe 40 something away from that. So we've got 2 weeks. So subscribe on YouTube, see our beautiful punums. Also, if you're, sorry, real quick, if you're following us on Instagram, we're also on Threads too at the same one too. So we're posting that stuff as well.
We're everywhere.
We are we're putting it everywhere now. Yeah. You can't, we're like, we're like an STI. But the ones that you like, I don't know.
It's fun while you got them, while you're getting them.
It's fun how you got them.
Well, on that note, I guess there's only one way to end this.
Mhm.
Cheerio, darlings.